Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Times Willy B, we'll be reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Wrestle!
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Kory back. Kory, how we doing?
Doing good today. Over last time where I couldn't even talk. Good Lord. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Here we go.
Yeah. How are you doing? No, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Well?
Yeah.
Well or swell? Which one would you say?
Swell.
Swell.
Because we just watched a phenomenal film.
Did we? Oh, we watched a movie. That's right. Yeah, we watched a movie.
So today, we're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Boy, I'm the last person you wanted on this podcast.
No. I brought you on for the Tom Holland movies.
For clickbait for arguments.
No. Because I knew that it wouldn't be straight glazing like me and my past guest did for the first 5 movies.
That's fair.
But today we'll be talking about No Way Home.
Yeah, that's true.
We've got everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
John Watts back in the director's chair.
Yes, we do.
We got Tom Holland. We got Zendaya. We got Jacob Batalon. We got Benedict Cumberbatch. We've got Willem Dafoe. We've got Alfred Molina. We've got Tom... I'm messing up people's names now.
Hiddleston?
No. Thomas Hayden Church.
I was going to say. Tom...
We got...
I didn't even mean that. I was thinking of Benedict Cumberbatch, and I was like, Tom Hiddleston?
No, we got... God, where else we go? Jamie Foxx. We've got...
Roy Zevens.
Yes, we do.
If that is indeed how you say that, I don't know.
We got...
Are we missing any more villains?
Tony Revolori.
Tony Revolori. We got the lady from Barry who plays the... she works for the college. She works for MIT. She's on the bridge, yes. Doc Oxy. Whatever her name is, she's in the show Barry. Go watch Barry.
Yeah.
Instead of this. Just kidding.
But yeah. Marisa Tomei.
Yeah, everybody.
We gotta throw those two in at the end.
And Benedict Cumberbatch. I know we said that in passing. He's here.
Wong.
Yeah, I like Wong. I don't love Wong like everybody else does. Everybody glazes Wong pretty hard. Okay. I like Wong.
Okay. So we'll hop to the good.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's just about everything.
The entire movie. So go ahead and talk about the entire movie, Will.
So obviously this one picks up right where we left off with Far From Home.
Yep.
I've only seen this movie in theaters. I've still yet to have an at-home experience with this movie. Boy,
maybe that's what differentiates us, because an at-home experience will change your life.
Okay. So for this one, nothing will beat that first experience, obviously.
Absolutely. Take me back to the night we met.
It's one of those crowd experiences that I will cherish for my entire existence.
Sure, absolutely.
From the appearances of the other Spider-Men to the crowd reacting to those, to seeing the villains come back.
Yes.
To the lines from previous movies being repeated. All of it was just magical. Mm-hmm. And it all still holds up for me. Now, does it quite hold up like that first experience? No. But it still holds up for me. I loved everything about this movie. Obviously, the premise of this movie really boils down to the fact that Doctor Strange did this spell for him, and the spell went haywire because, Peter couldn't shut up. Mm-hmm. And true. I don't think it's that far-fetched, because if what was going on in your life, if you were Peter Parker in the situation he was in, that's probably a realistic request you'd have for Doctor Strange.
For sure. If you know somebody who can wish away that scenario you're in.
The thing that's ruining your entire existence. Mm-hmm. Now, I know some people gripe about the fact that, why would Doctor Strange even do it, even under Wong's disapproval?
The Sorcerer Supreme's disapproval.
But let's be real, Doctor Strange has never really liked following the rules.
Yeah, I mean that's his whole thing. He's a bloody renegade, that man.
So I still don't think that's far fetched. But I love the nostalgia in this one. I love, we do definitely get some fan service, and I love the fan service. I love seeing all 3 guys back together. I love seeing the old villains come back. I love our first interaction with Doc Ock. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great little fight there on the bridge. He saves the MIT lady. I love our first interaction with the Green Goblin, where we get the pumpkin bomb and Willem Dafoe's laugh. And I don't know, man. When it boils down to it, I love just about every minute of this movie.
Word.
There's a strong emotional pull in this one. Obviously, losing Aunt May made me cry.
That's a great scene. That is a great acted scene.
Yeah.
That one actually, it didn't. The first time I watched that, I didn't cry, but the second time, it got me for some reason.
Yeah.
That is May, please, could you please talk to me for a second, please? Yep. And Tom Holland, actually, I think that might be his best sad acting scene.
Yeah. But leading up to that too, when he's trying to help find the cure to all of their issues, I think that's a really good scene. I love, when he helps and gets Doc Ock back in shape, and he gets the Peter tingle, he gets the Spidey senses, and he has a feeling something's wrong. And then we get the Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
I do like the nod that they give here and there, which after this is mostly in the scene where they're all making the cures, like you were talking about, is you can see that, like, Tom's Spider-Man, he doesn't want to address the Green Goblin because he's like, we got the cure for Dylan, Max Dillon, we got the cure for Dr. Connors, for Sandman, and then whenever he sees the one that's for Green Goblin, he like can't even say it. He just kind of like throws it to the side. You can tell he's still, obviously where it's heading. He's secretly kind of on a revenge tour with that one. Yeah. Specifically. He's got a plan.
Well, no.
Maybe not planned, but he's still boiling up with hate against the Green Goblin in that scene.
Well, but when they're making the cures, Aunt May's still alive.
Whenever the 3 Spider-Man are making the cures?
No, I'm talking about before when we...
sorry. I was talking about that one where it's the 3 Spider-Men making the cure. Yeah. That scene, he will not speak of the Green Goblin. He won't speak of Norman. Yes.
In that scene leading up to the fight, I love, all of that. And then the fight is really good, too.
The apartment scene one?
Yeah.
That's a great fight. That's
going through the floors fight. And you get the lizard break out of the truck, which was really cool.
You knew this? Consequences, Peter, or whatever he says.
Sandman evaporates into the wind, and Electro shocks his way through the wind. And
I like that idea that those two kind of traveling together. That's kind of a cool... I like that. But I do like that.
I like how that scene plays out a lot. And then, we got Zendaya, MJ, and Ned hanging out, and Ned's kind of figuring out that
he's a sorcerer.
He's got a little thing going on.
A little magic. He's got a little tingle of his own.
Yeah, he's got the Ned tingle.
I love that. The Ned tingle. But, if I could choose any power in the Marvel Universe, Ned tingle.
But he opens up the portal that allows us to meet Andrew Garfield. I think that whole interaction is really fun with him hopping up the ceiling and
that's
great.
Bread
being thrown at him.
Yeah, I don't have the tingle for bread. I really like that. I really like that.
And then Toby's opened up, and oh my god,
he's like, oh, it just closed.
Yeah,
so good.
And he's just like
so funny.
It's so funny because he's not that old, but he almost plays like a senile Spider-Man.
He does. He acts like he's 80.
Yeah,
you're right. And also, he has the funniest line delivery in this movie. By the way, it has to do with him looking like an old man. Yeah. To me, the funniest part of the whole movie is when Andrew goes, "So, are you planning on going into battle, looking dressed like a cool youth bastard?" He's like.
Yeah, and he has the suit underneath.
Honestly was a sigh of relief for me because I was like, please tell me they don't do that. He's an old Spider-Man. He gave up the suit and he doesn't have it anymore. Whenever he did that, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
I think the comedy is really good in this movie. I think it's... we talked about it in Far From Home last week that, the comedy really hits. I think the comedy hits a lot in this one for me, too. I think this one's hilarious, and a lot of it is callbacks to, you get the I'm something of a scientist myself. You get the trying to do better. You've got the,
I like that one.
My back.
Trying to do better. I like that.
Yeah.
The my back stuff. I mean, let's just get out of the way. The 3 Spider-Men hanging out might be the best thing that's ever happened ever.
That might be some of the best writing we've ever seen in a comic book movie. The dialogue, I don't know how much of it was improv or what, but the dialogue between the 3 Spider-Men
is good.
Is something out of a dream.
I hoped, we all wanted like the conversation with the web shooters. How does Toby do it? Yada, yada, yada.
Does it come out of anywhere else?
Yeah. and then there's the like, do you ever get a web block? Whatever. And I like that. I really like the part where, after he shoots the web, Andrew's like looking a little too long at it. Then he looks at whatever they're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
But in general, like them just talking about like, oh, I fought this person. I fought that. Like, that's the conversation everyone wanted to see had, but never thought they would do it in a movie.
You've met a few of mine.
I have complaints about this movie that are coming.
Yeah.
But there is, no matter who or just what I feel about this movie, deep inside of me, no matter what, whenever they're all hanging out, you can't help but just be like, oh, my boys are back. Like, those are the guys, man.
Yeah. And, you talked about it. We also get, Andrew's like, I'm lame, man. And you get Toby being the dad figure. He's like, you're not lame. I need you to just tell me that you're cool. Like, I need you to say it.
You are amazing. Which is like, that's
amazing.
Fun.
I need you to say
That's fun. He's like, yeah, I needed that. Thank you.
And then when they're making their plan, there's Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3.
Peter 3. Yeah, we all love that. The scene where they help him kind of get to the conclusion of the with great power comes great responsibility thing. We're talking about Uncle Ben.
That scene's emotional as hell.
Yeah, it is.
Talk about a tearjerker.
Yeah, that is a rough scene.
Where, Peter's talking about how... I can't say Peter. Toby's talking about how he lost Uncle Ben. And then Andrew talks about how he lost Ben and his MJ, Gwen. And then...
Oh, my God.
Right after, Tom Holland had just lost his May. Wow. The floodgates, man. They were opened.
The Andrew Garfield, him saying, I lost my Gwen, choking, trying to talk.
MJ, yeah.
Holy shit, man. Yeah. That is rough.
It just makes you relive that scene.
It does. And you could see it on his face.
Yeah.
And also finding out later on that Andrew actually asked for that to be brought into the script.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
That's what I mean by Andrew Garfield is the best actor we've ever gotten to play Spider-Man.
He is the best actor.
That face acting and in the movie in general, we get into we'll get into another part, but like that scene, you talked about it. You see it in his face. You can feel it in his face. And all three of them did a great job making you feel the emotion.
Yeah, you can tell that Andrew won though. That's personal.
Yeah.
And I know we're getting to it, but the scene where he saves MJ.
Yes,
that's what I was talking about. First watch and every rewatch since, that scene still makes my heart drop.
Yeah.
Heavily. It's the fact that...
Because he goes, you okay? And she goes, yeah. You?
Are you okay?
Because you can tell he's...
It makes me feel fucked up right now thinking about it. Yeah. Where he's kind of like, he's like you could... Oh, dude. And like, man, I remember seeing theories. I wish I hadn't even had an inkling in my brain that there was a theory that Andrew was going to save MJ. Because that as a surprise, which honestly, for when you're watching the movie for the first time, especially, you're wrapped up. Yeah. Absolutely, you're like you're locked in.
Oh yeah.
But that scene where Tom gets swiped by the glider, and then for a second you're like, no fucking way this is going to happen again. And you see Andrew yell no in slow motion. I remember everyone erupting.
Yeah.
And man, I cannot imagine how that must have felt for Andrew Garfield. To see that, the redemption on him, personally, is the best thing about this movie, period. My favorite thing about it. The redemption of Andrew Garfield. Amazing.
Cutting back before we get to the final fight in the third act in general, when we get into them in the lab together fixing and making all of these cures, this is... another one that I think is really funny because you got Ned really, really worried about, because a bad guy. He asks him, do you have a best friend? He's like, yeah, he ended up becoming a villain and trying to kill me.
And I like how Toby plays it so good. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And the whole time Ned's like...
Ned comes up, he goes, hey man, I'm never going to try to kill you. And Peter just goes, thanks.
He's like, yeah man, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Dude, that's a great scene. I like how you can awkwardly see. There's even there's a split scene in between the scene where he apologizes. After
we find that Peter finds out that Ned can do stuff too.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's a good point. He's like, I'm not going to turn into a magic villain.
Yeah.
But what I love is whenever he does that, where he goes, it was heartbreaking or whatever. There's a second where Peter's like, Tom is like, hey Ned, can you go get this whatever? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. He's keeping his distance for a second, and then he comes and says he's not going to kill him or whatever. And speaking of Ned being magic, I do love that scene where Doctor Strange is like, how'd you even do this? Whatever. They're like, Ned's magic. Like, he can do, Ned opened up the portals, and he goes, Yeah. Like, that's just that alone must have been like, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
But this third act in this final fight is something, again, out of a dream for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, we get to see all of these villains we know and love go up against all three of the Spider-Men we know and love. Mm-hmm. And we see the planning, the execution, the teamwork, the landing and perching on top of the Empire State Building. Yeah. Phenomenal. What a shot. Mm. And I just loved everything about that final fight. Yeah. From them trying to get Blizzard locked up in a different world and he can't get the portal closed. Right. To can the Spider-Man come into play again? Oh,
you love that. You love to hear that, Willem Dafoe. Yeah. Man, and also like that being a callback
the look of Willem Dafoe. I know I loved the original with the mask and everything. Yeah. But getting the hooded Green Goblin, I think, was a really cool play.
And getting to see Willem Dafoe do some actual face. You have the face of a goblin. Let him do some goblin face stuff. Obviously, that's great. Yeah. Obviously, I have some complaints that are coming later about the look, but it's just the mask. Yeah. Other than that, I love the look. I love the hoodie. Obviously, the biggest thing for me, honestly, the purple stuff was actually secondary. Close secondary. The main thing I wanted, I got, which was a satchel. Yeah. The freaking goblin purse, dude. Yeah. Where he's pulling out gadgets and stuff. Oh, so good. And where the blade comes out. So good. Yeah. So good.
Oh. And I love how we get this, in the middle of the night going into the sunrise. Mm-hmm. I think that just adds an element to the cinematography. Sure. Speaking of cinematography, I think this movie has really good cinematography.
Me too.
One of my favorite shots is when Peter's crying and he's watching the news report. And
that's a great shot.
And it's such a good shot. Mm-hmm. It's, I believe, the poster.
Yeah, that's like some of the posters use that. Yeah, which is like phenomenal. Actually,
for sure. And I like the way this movie's shot a lot. Mm-hmm. I like the score. The score is great.
This actually, I think, is Michael Giacchino's best score of the three.
It's up there.
Because, I like that.
You mean for the Spider-Man movies? Or yeah,
for the Spider-Man movies.
For the Spider-Man movies, I'd say for sure. Because Doctor Strange's score, when they show the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah. It's like he pulled out the oldest, Animal Crossing piano he could find and used that to do the theme. Which is, it's so Halloween-y. And I like it. So witchy. I love that theme.
That's why I love it, too.
My favorite score of the whole movie is, we've all heard the Tom Holland dun 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 dun, 1,000 times. Yeah. But this one has the best, and it feels like the finalized version of that theme, which is whenever Peter does his final swing at the end in the snow. And there's such a somber but still heroic and hopeful. It's so deep, that score in that moment. The dun, dun, and with the swing, something about that is the vibes there are perfect for a Spider-Man movie. Because, even we love the Tobey Maguire final swings. Yeah. Those things are great, It's very Spider-Man's coming, he's doing his thing, whatever, it's hopeful, whatever. This feels more in line with what I know about Spider-Man, which is, you get those hopeful moments and stuff, but you still feel the weight of Spider-Man in that theme. I think it's terrific.
The collecting of the villains is really good too, between the power line scene with Electro and Sandman just kind of asking him questions you're Peter Parker. Yeah. I thought that was all fun, again, getting those callbacks. Going back to the third act and the final scene, we get a really good fight between Tom Holland and the Green Goblin, who now has more hatred towards the Green Goblin than Toby ever did, which is
that's
cool
and
interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And then to the point where we get the final wish. I want nobody to remember who I am. I wish nobody knew who Peter Parker was. Yeah. And him saying his goodbyes. That's very emotional.
It's great. That is great.
All great. Mm-hmm. I think it's such a good final. There is one thing I nitpick with that final act, but it's still not enough to ruin, to take away from this movie and the score I give it, which we'll obviously get into. Yeah. But, one more good that I really, really want to shout out is the absolute end of this film. Mm-hmm. And that's when we get Peter Parker is ground level. No one knows who he is. He's in an apartment in New York City.
I throw a call back to Far From Home. He used that shit and made a sewing machine and made that suit out of the sewing machine.
He made his own suit with a sewing machine, and it is gorgeous. And I hope and pray every night when I go to bed that is the suit we get at the start of Spider-Man 4. Because I need to see more of that vibrant, bright blue and red suit that we see him swing off into the snowy night in No Way Home.
Right.
I love that suit, and I love that ending.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have anything else in the good?
We said a lot of things. We talked about and I think the ending is perfectly fit. You know, I have my nitpick about how the layout of these 3 movies went, but putting Peter exactly where we all wanted to see him, the most emotional way. Like, Peter's never went through this kind of emotional duress ever. Like, the most amount of pressure, losing his friends. And, like, that final scene between him and MJ is great. The undertones behind it.
When he goes in the coffee shop and doesn't say anything.
Like, that is a decision.
He sees his friends happy at
Peter's
MIT.
Had to make similar decisions in the comics, especially like Spider-Man One More Day.
Yeah.
Just, you know, people having to forget him or him having to give up on things that he loves or people he loves and whatever. I think that sets up an interesting story that I hope they continue on with from here on out. But yeah, I think as far as good goes, I think that's...
You're starting to cry.
Yeah, I know. Need another Twinkie or whatever. Zebra cake.
Zebra cake. I put the entire movie in the good, though.
Right. Besides this nitpick that we're going to get into.
Yeah. But, you know, leading up to this movie, there was all this speculation. There was people trying to leak it, and you still didn't know for sure. Mm-hmm. And like I said, nothing. I would go as far to say as that it was probably the best theater experience I have ever had. Endgame a close second. And I don't know if it'll ever be beaten because the anticipation that went into that fateful December night that we were all counting down to. And then it finally happened, and I was like, oh, hell yeah.
It's definitely top 3. I don't know. Endgame was... It might be Endgame. The Batman's up there, obviously, and like Dune Part 2 is up there, but it's probably number 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely... There's very few movies that you watch where you're like... You're okay with like giving a scream or a shout. That's one where you kind of can't help it in some places, you know.
Yeah.
So you can't be mad at that.
So we'll hop over to the meh, and I guess I'll throw my nitpick in here. I wish we got a little bit more closure with Green Goblin and Toby, but again, we get that in the first movie, I think. So that's why it doesn't take from my score.
Sure.
Because we get it in Spider-Man 1.
Sure.
That's it for me. I don't have anything else in the matter bad. This is all your time to shine, brother.
Oh, yeah. So in the Met specifically, a lot of stuff is like good things, but just things that bug me too much about it. Like that final suit, I think is a great suit. I think the red looks terrific. I think the shade of blue is terrific. 2 nitpicks. One, I like the big red spider on the back of the suit. We never really got that properly. We did with Tom's suits, but I wish... I kind of like the idea because, you know, as you know, he combined Andrew and Toby's symbols for like the spider symbol on his back or whatever. Yeah. So I kind of like that idea because he met those Spider-Men. Like, and I think I would have preferred like combine both of those in a way, put those on the front and then do the big one on the back. And then the other thing, I really don't like the material used for that blue. I think it's too shiny and glossy.
I like that, though.
It's weird. I don't like it. I think that shade of blue on the material used in the blue from like the Homecoming suit, I think I would have preferred that.
Okay.
I do, like I said, I like the shade of blue. It's the material.
I had a feeling you were going to say material when you started talking about the suit, and all you said was things you liked at first. Mm-hmm. I was like, he's going to say the material.
I don't like the material.
I like the material. I think it looked good in that winter night, and he flies by the ice rink, and the lights are shining, and it's Christmas time. Mm-hmm. I think maybe that's why I liked it so much. Maybe in like a summer day, it wouldn't sit as well.
And in the summer set or the winter setting, it does look really cool.
Yeah.
I don't deny that. It's just like whenever they release the hot toy, and then whenever they put it in like Spider-Man 2, the video game, is when I really went, I don't know about that shade of blue. Because when I first saw it, I was like, that is perfect. Yeah. But just over time, I've kind of digested the material. Something I would put in the mat, I think the relationship between Peter and MJ, actually.
Between and Peter?
Did I say that?
Yeah. Between
Peter and MJ. Again, it's too rushed. Okay. It's too much... in some ways, I don't believe it. Whenever they say "I love you" at the end, I roll my eyes because I don't believe it. Which is wild because they were in love in real life. Something about it to me just never felt right. If I'm honest, yeah.
I like the relationship, and I really love their FaceTime call when Happy's sleeping in the chair.
I do like that. I do like that where he's like, "You get it. You both like each other. Let's hang up."
Yeah.
They feel like a realistic version of like young kids, but something about that, I just don't feel it really. Okay. And especially something else I'm going to get to. So that's kind of meh for me. Like the goblin suit, I'm going to put the goblin suit in the meh because I love what they did, everything. I just, the helmet.
You wanted the helmet?
Yeah. I think no face, regular face, see the face in the apartment scene is great. I think they should have added the helmet in the final swing. Maybe even if they tweaked it or something is fine or whatever, but I think they should have done head and like helmet and hoodie situation. I don't love the goggles. Sometimes the Green Goblin does do goggles. I'm not usually that kind of guy.
Okay.
But like again, this is meh because it's not bad. Yeah. It's not good because it's preference. But all in all, it's still a really good suit. You know, folding in the purple and the golds and I think all that stuff's terrific.
Yes.
Something else that I would put in the meh, Dr. Octopus, because I love seeing Alfred Molina become the nice Otto Octavius that Peter got to know at first and those things like that. I just don't like that he wasn't in the final battle.
That's fair.
That's really fair. Bums me out that because he gets to turn, and I don't love that. I'm like, I wish we'd gotten the turn at the end because, like I said, I do love the scene between him and Toby. We're trying to do better. Like that is beautiful. Yeah, actually, that's pretty much all messed up. Everything else I pretty much hate.
Okay. You say everything else you pretty much hate?
You know, I'm just going to have to say what I think, thing by thing, because I have strong feelings, but I don't like... We'll just have to...
So you want to hop in the bad stuff?
Yeah. The first thing in the bad, the nostalgia is overbearing. Going back and watching this at home is incredibly awkward. Okay. You would not believe how many pauses there are for people to scream and cheer in the movie. It breaks up the pacing immensely. Okay. That makes things kind of awkward for me. Another thing, the thing that I probably hate the most out of this movie, it absolutely killed all the momentum from Far From Home. The entirety of the plot line of where that was going, it goes in a different direction, but the Mysterio was right stuff, the court case, all that stuff, they absolutely flew through all that stuff. Like they just wanted to fly through that so they could get to the stuff, the Toby, Tom, all that stuff. Yeah. And that I really hate that. I really hate that a lot. I think a better story, people have talked about this, it should have been like, he becomes public enemy number 1, which we even get that shot on which is cool on the in Manhattan that says public enemy number 1. But like, I would have loved the theories that people had out there where it's going to be like Kraven, chasing after Spider-Man, trying to hunt him down because he's public enemy number 1. Mm-hmm. J. Jonah Jameson hiring the Scorpion because that's how that happens in the comics, and maybe having those two or something like that. But, obviously we're not living in the universe where that exists. Another thing that really bothers me, I hate that final fight between the Green Goblin and Peter.
Really?
I know it's emotional and whatever, but I think it sucks. It's just them throwing lazy ass punches at each other. Until he pulls out the sword, it's just them literally punching.
Yeah.
And I know the excuse is, well, we got the apartment scene. Here's the thing. Everything the Green Goblin is known for, he doesn't do in the movie. Except when whenever he bombs twice, that's it. He uses gadgets a lot. Like that glider is incredibly underused, and that is beyond frustrating. Him and Toby, or him and Tom, whoever, there's a behind the scenes, that's why I said Toby, where there's going to be an aerial battle battle between Toby and the Goblin that they cut out for whatever reason. Yeah. Having the Goblin stay away from his glider from pretty much the entire movie is like an absolute gut punch to me.
I feel like I liked the fist fight because we get a scene where we talk about Spider-Man pulling punches. Yeah. And we also know from Tobey's movie how strong the Green Goblin is. Mm-hmm.
And Tom's even stronger than Tobey, so that's
why I think I like seeing the fist fight.
I think I would dislike it less if we had gotten a proper battle, like where he has the gadgets and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that, like, you know, he goes down, he cuts off Doctor off his octopus's arm for a second or whatever, and then he's immediately de-glided, and then it's just them punching. Like, it's really forced through. And this kind of ties into some other stuff too, but like, they had an absolute opportunity to do 3 Spider-Men versus the Sinister Six, and they wasted that. Like I said, Doc Ock wasn't in the fight. Green Goblin's not even in the fight. It's literally just them doing a 3-on-3, Sandman, Electro, and I feel like that lowers the stakes in a way because we know that they can beat all 3 of those villains alone because they've all been beat by Spider-Man single-handedly.
Yeah.
So,
well, not really. Sandman was never really beat.
Sandman was... Yeah, whenever he was beat, it was because he had Harry's help. So I guess that's
Electro.
fair.
Gwen was a huge role in beating him.
I guess kind of, yeah. It's just... I don't... Well, also, but you have to remember...
Lizard, he had the help of
well,
the
there
police
you go.
chief.
But here's what I'm saying is they... Especially like Andrew, because he's fought 2 of those villains.
Yeah.
They all have... They know what takes these 3 down, so that kind of bums me out. Some designs I really hate. I think Electro's design is...
What?
Ball sack. Dude, it's not an Electro suit. He's wearing cargo shorts, boots, and a t-shirt.
Yeah, but I like it.
Cargo pants, a t-shirt, and a shirt.
But I like the way the Electro mask forms. And...
That's one thing about it that they got right. The rest of it is just regular clothes. You like Electro wearing regular clothes, really?
Yes, because of where he's coming from.
I hated that.
You're telling me that Electro would have time to be sucked into a new world, then go make an Electro suit?
Well, here's the thing. They could have, first of all, just used the black suit that he used in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then just, yellow, whatever. Just could have spray painted green on it, I don't care. But also, there's concept art that they almost used where it was like construction clothes adjacent, but he kind of... It still looks like construction, but it's much more accurate to the color scheme of the Electro with the mask, and that looked terrific.
See, I like
and
it
I don't know
because-
why they didn't approach that. And also, they had a Tony Stark box that creates anything in 5 seconds.
Yeah, but I like
Which I also hate that too, by the way.
I like the costume because he gets pulled in, he loses his clothes, and then he's wearing the clothes that he's in a brand new world. So I get why he's in what he's in.
I get it too, but I'm saying they had concept art for clothes that he found, and it looked pretty good, and they went with shorts. It was like long pants, long shirt, instead of t-shirts and a shorts. That's pretty shitty Electro design. IMO. So some of the designs I hate. These ones I can't be that mad at because they couldn't be there, but I would have liked another scene of Thomas Hayden Church where he's not Sandmaned up, but obviously they couldn't get him there. They could only do the voice. I can't be that mad at that, so that should be mad probably. This actually frustrates me. The Lizard, they had a chance to kind of fix that stupid looking face.
That's fair.
Make it more crocodilian. Also, put a lab coat on that bitch right now. I'm so sick of seeing that naked lizard.
I do like Lab Coat Lizard.
Lab Coat Lizard is gas. Yeah, honestly, if they had Lab Coat, I probably wouldn't complain that much.
Yeah.
But having no Lab Coat and a Goomba face, that's still pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
They tweak it in some ways where it looks better than the Amazing Spider-Man, but it's still not very good.
Yeah.
So some
I was gonna say it definitely looked better.
Yeah, it definitely looked better. This is, I guess, more mad. I forgot about this. Peter's integrated suit. I don't like it. The red and black suit with the gold touched up in it. Mm-hmm. I hate that. I don't like that was like his definitive look for the movie. I would have liked it better if it was just the red and dark navy. Mm-hmm. I actually, funnily enough, even though I complained about that, I don't mind the inside out suit for some reason. I kind of like the black and gold. Yeah. I don't know why.
I kind of like all over his suit.
Yeah, I kind of like that. There's just so much wasted opportunity here. I think the correct choice would have been to follow like a Daredevil court, Kraven the Hunter being hunted, whatever, all that stuff, and then it kind of build up to maybe even a post-credit scene of Andrew and Toby. Like, this could have been a 2-movie arc that they shoved into 1 movie. And it very much, and also the other thing too is No Way Home, the first 45 minutes bore the fuck out of me.
What?
Until he fights Doc Ock on the bridge, which also, by the way, is a fight I don't like.
So you don't like any of this movie?
There's a lot I don't like.
Because I liked everything you just said.
The Doc Ock fight, I think, is crap. I think the VFX look bad. They do. And I think Peter using the Iron Spider suit, I guess it kind of gives a cool contrast to see what he can do when he has a Iron Claws versus Iron Claws or whatever. But, like, come on. And also, that's the only Doc Ock fight we get. It's kind of weak.
I don't think it's that weak. I liked it.
I don't think it's very good. There's some things like that. Some of the comedy I think sucks. The part where Peter's like mocking him by controlling his arm is like, I don't think that's funny. There's a lot of this movie I don't think. Whenever he flies down the sewer thing while Flash is looking at the phone like, oh my God, Peter, Spider-Man. And I think, first of all, the VFX in that scene looks terrible.
I thought the VFX look good in this entire movie.
No, they don't. They look bad. They look quite bad in a lot of space. I will go back and show you, and you can take the shutters off. That scene where Flash is looking at his phone looks horrendously bad. The background is terrible. Okay. Where he's wearing like the tennis gear, you know what I'm talking about? And it looks so bad. It's not even funny.
I think it looked bad.
So like there's a lot of CG mess in there. It just feels so... This entire thing that just feels so rushed, all of this. They definitely could have built this up to something. I think a Spider-Verse movie is great. Do it in a different movie. I think Tom Holland deserved to have his own 3-movie arc without the help of Iron Man, Nick Fury, and then Doctor Strange and 3 Spider-Men. Because?
It's giving him
because he has more help?
No, because it's giving him a chance to be on his own based on the ending.
By the end of it.
Well, yeah.
But that's bad.
No, it's not.
Well, the ending is good that he's alone and stuff.
They developed a story that makes him get more movies, but he'll be on his own.
Good, yeah, except for the fact that most people would not have signed a deal for more movies. And there for a minute, Tom Holland said he was dumb. Now, he just wanted more money, but I mean, that's really taking a gamble. This was not planned out, this trilogy, very clearly. No Way Home, Far From Home, you could argue, yeah, No Way Home was it's the odd duck out of these 3. I do not think this fits as a trilogy. All 3 of these movies have the same arc for Peter. That's bad. He doesn't progress as a character very much in each movie until the end of this one. And if they happen to do this again, then it's absolutely wasted again. What's Homecoming about? He learns to become he learns to become his own hero and not ask for help. What happens at Far From Home? He learns that he has to do things on his own and not ask for help. In No Way Home, what's he learn? He has to do things on his own.
When on Far From Home does he do that?
Do what?
What you just said.
Because he can't ask the help. Like, he's alone without Nick Fury. Even Happy says it. Remember, you're all alone. You lost your tech. What are you going to do about it?
Okay.
It's about him stepping up as Spider-Man. Homecoming is about him stepping up as Spider-Man.
I feel like it's all the Spider-Man movies.
How's that? Think about Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. Neither of those arcs are about him stepping up as Spider-Man.
Well, the second one for a moment there.
And what scene?
In the sense that he almost throws it all away and then you realize he has great responsibility.
Oh, yeah, but that's not the arc of the movie.
You could argue it, though.
The arc of that entire movie is about him not bottling things up. And I guess in a way it kind of ties into that, but it's not just that.
I think that's just Spider-Man.
They copy and paste it. The biggest piece of Spider-Man's characterization is obviously with great power comes great responsibility thing, and you know how sometimes that comes with sacrifice.
Yeah.
Each movie comes with sacrifice, but each movie in the Tom Holland universe is no shit about him going, you know what, each movie ends with you thinking, he's actually Spider-Man now. All 3 movies. By the end of Spider-Man 1, you go, oh yeah, he's him. He gives it up.
Before the movie actually starts. I think he's actually Spider-Man before the movie starts.
The movie literally ends with him becoming Spider-Man. He gets the great power with great responsibility talk in No Way Home. It's in the fucking movie.
It is.
That's the biggest lesson he learns to become the Spider-Man he's supposed to be.
But you also got to realize we're getting very different Spider-Man in all of these movies.
Yes.
In the first movie, both Tom and Andrew graduate high school.
Yeah.
Or Toby and Andrew. Tom's in high school this entire trilogy.
Correct.
Kids don't learn lessons as fast.
That's true. But also, Spider-Man, he knows how to be Spider-Man in high school.
I'm just saying, like, you can't compare them to the other trilogies because they're not the same.
But the thing is, it's different.
And that's why I'm excited to see what Tom does next.
Yeah, we'll see. But what's different, again, is that he's learning the same arc in 3 movies. That is a stupid decision.
Okay. I've been taught multiple lessons in my childhood and adolescence.
We're not talking about real life. These are movies. Movies are different from real life. You do know that. They can't roll out.
These movies are...
A trilogy has to work. Think about the Dark Knight trilogy. Batman Begins is about him learning to become a symbol for hope. Okay. The Dark Knight is about him learning that he can become more than that, a sacrifice for Gotham. The Dark Knight Rises is about him realizing that he can give it all up for Gotham, that he's still got a little bit more fight left. That's a completed arc. Baby to, the man who makes decisions to the old man who gives it up for what he loves. That's a completed arc. Each one is high school kid, doesn't know what he's doing. By the end, he learns what he's doing. High school kid, doesn't know what he's doing. By the end, learns what he's doing. High school kid, doesn't know what he's doing. By the end, he learns what he's doing.
And I think you just said it again. The difference is one's a grown-ass man who's matured and has a fully functioning brain. One's a high school kid.
But that doesn't work in a movie trilogy. That doesn't work. The character has to progress each movie. By the beginning of that movie, he has to be able to hold that arc within himself.
I think it's worked.
In that second one.
Because obviously
a lot of people don't, though.
Me and the scores would say that they've worked.
My score, if we're talking Rotten Tomatoes and audience scores, both of those for me would be thumbs up because I like the movie. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have problems.
Every movie has problems.
The movie works.
The Dark Knight has problems.
Yes, it does. The movie
Dark Knight Rises has a lot of problems. Yes, I still like it.
The movie itself works. The trilogy does not work as a trilogy. That's what I'm getting at.
But it's not a trilogy.
As the end of a trilogy, it is. It's the home trilogy.
But it's in a bigger picture, in my opinion.
In a bigger picture.
It's the MCU.
Of the MCU. But a movie still needs to be able to stand on its own. If it can't stand on its own, it's the same lesson from Homecoming. If you're nothing without that suit, then you don't deserve it. If you cannot be greater than the sum of your own parts for your own movie, then in an entire shared universe, what are you? I personally think this is the third best trilogy in the MCU. Because I think the arcs of the Guardians and Captain America shatter this movie.
I think the first Avenger is incredibly overrated.
I think that is an absolutely bad take. But anyway.
But Winter Soldier and Civil War, yes, great movies. But they're also not Captain America movies.
I think First Avenger's underrated. But that's just what I'm saying is, as a trilogy, there has to be an overarching, arc. If it was stages of Peter learns nothing, Peter's kind of starting to get it, and by the end of No Way Home, he becomes a man, I would excuse it. But it's from kid to Spider-Man every film. That, for me, doesn't work.
But when you're a kid, you don't always learn the lesson the first time, is what I'm saying. And I get it. It's a movie. I get it. But this movie is based off of a real-life kid becoming a superhero.
Yes. But I think... I just
You know how many lessons my dad had to teach me with my car? Probably 37. So we got to make 37 movies about me learning how to drive.
Yes,
I'm a pretty damn good driver.
But it wouldn't.
Movie 38, Fast and Furious, baby.
Work is what I'm saying.
Well, no, because I'm not interesting like Spider-Man, but...
And that's my main thing is Spider-Man.
Well, I'm interesting, but I'm not Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man is a great character, and that's the thing that stresses me out about this movie. I've read a lot of Spider-Man comics. There's a lot of things they could have pulled from, and a lot of arcs they could have given Peter. And
yeah, but that's any superhero movie based on a comic book.
Yeah, it is. And you can tell which ones I do and don't like are the ones that actually find something else to do than recycling. I love Batman, but one of my biggest complaints until the Batman is they kept missing the main storyline they could have done this whole time. That's just... And with Spider-Man, I think every Spider-Man movie actually does get that right. And I think Homecoming especially gets that right. That feeling of responsibility. It's kind of a retread, but... centralizing it in the MCU with him stepping out above from being with Tony, I think that's a great lesson. And I think the 2 movies after that should not have featured a bunch of other superheroes, a bunch of nonsense. It should have been his own thing from there on. I just think it just seems so lazy. Not lazy, but it just seems so unthought out when every movie ends with the center point of each movie is the exact same thing.
But after Homecoming, what route do you go to make him on his own? Because he's not on his own until now.
There's many places that you could have taken it, and actually, my biggest complaint about all the Spider-Man movies in general is that they fly through high school. Now, the thing that I like about Tom Holland's movies is that they actually keep him in high school. Mm-hmm. My problem is that they kept giving him the same arc in high school.
Yeah, 7 years of high school.
Yeah, that's a lot of... Could you imagine being in high school for 7 years?
No.
Yeah. Again, I've already said it, but...
Obviously, 5 of them were... 9 years of high school. Because 5 were blipped.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. It has a long...
Imagine thinking you're going to graduate in, 2020, and they're like, nope, 2025.
Imagine how that must feel for your family. Like, oh, he's finally graduating. And then he gets blipped away, and he comes back, and it's like, God, this fucker's still in high school. You still got to finish high school.
Damn, I got to pay for a grad party.
He's like, Henry, damn, I got to pay for a grad party. Yeah, I don't, I have my complaints. A lot of people completely disagree with me. For a lot of people, this is their favorite Spider-Man movie, and I get that.
It's not my favorite Spider-Man movie.
And I'm not here to... that. Oh, is it really? I thought it was.
It's third. Beyond Toby's first two. All 3 have the same score, but I'd rather watch those 2.
Mm-hmm. One of my great friends, her name's Casey. This is her favorite movie ever. Spider-Man movie ever. And, I have every reason to understand and believe. And I'm not here to change anyone's opinions. I'm just here to say why I think this movie missed a lot of points for me.
Okay.
Well, just me personally, I just like a tighter story. I like the nostalgia, but, I really wanted to see something happen with Tom's Peter. And by the end, we do.
Yeah.
But it just felt like they just wanted to fit all this other gunk into it. But at the same time, if we got a Tom Holland just a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, I'd probably be here saying I wish they went with the bring the other 2 Spider-Man route. So I'm aware that I'm probably a hypocrite, but you asked me to be here.
Wow. What's that movie? 5 hours of me flicking off the camera.
Oh, yeah, that's David F. Sandberg.
Yeah.
The director David F. Sandberg. Love that guy.
Yeah. He's got some good movies. But
yes, he does.
We'll hop over to our final thoughts and rating. You kind of made it aware how you want to leave off with this movie, but what do you rate this movie out of 10?
Believe it or not, still, you've heard my complaints. I'm going to say the bad things first, because I'm not really one to I want people to feel bad about this movie. I still love this movie. I don't give it as high as a score as everybody else does, but I still love it. I get to see my boys. And my boys don't even just count with the Spider-Man guys. I almost care about the villains more. Yeah. And in actuality, I love getting to see, Jacob Batalon as Ned. Oh, that's another thing. Ned got pushed out really hard for this movie for MJ. That's another thing that I have to throw in there. That is.
I thought it was a good balance, in my opinion. I like the chemistry of the thruple.
I like their thruple energy. I just wish there was more. Anytime there's a scene of them 3 together, you can pretty much bet Peter's going to talk to MJ. Yeah. But whatever. That's kind of realistic too in high school, I guess. But anyway, but in general, I still love it. I think even the story of just Tom losing everything, heartbreaking, losing Aunt May. Heart crushing. Just a kid who wants to just live out being a regular high schooler. Yep. I think that's a great story. And, I think there's some good action in it. I think there are VFX that look good. I think there are some good shots.
Phenomenal score.
I think it has a phenomenal score. I think there's a lot to love about this movie. I'm going to give it a 7. Okay. Maybe a 6.5, 7, somewhere in there. I can't really decide. Let's say a 7, because in general, I still love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man to death. Even if it's not a great Spider-Man, I still love Spider-man.
Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. It makes it sound like you said 7.5.
Execute them all. No,
I'm gonna edit that to where I cut out you saying 6 in between 7 and 6.5, so it says 7.5.
I mean, it's out of my control, so whatever happens. But yeah, in general, like I said, I still love it. I still think it is a good movie. It's just it just missed the mark for me on a lot of things. But there's a lot of fun and love to be had.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
There's 3 10 out of 10 Spider-Man movies.
You're missing some. You're missing some.
I'm a generous reviewer. And I don't think any of them are top 10 movies for me. I have like 50 10 out of 10s, which is like 10% of the movies I've seen. I mean, that's actually not accurate at all because I've definitely seen more than 500 movies. But anyways,
absolutely.
To say that your 10 out of 10 movies are your top 10% or less, that's fair.
That's still pretty good. That's fair.
That's fair.
Absolutely.
It might be closer to like 6%, but
yeah.
I adore this movie. What it gave me theater experience wise, 8 now 9 times, can't be matched.
Okay. Yeah. I understand and respect your wrong and bad opinion. I'm just kidding. Now I respect this is a movie where if the love had taken over for me, I get it. Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. It's one of those movies that if you were born mid 90s to early 2000s and you grew up with all of these movies, it feels made for you.
It definitely, again, everything. The problem is I saw it multiple times. I saw it 4 times in theaters.
Yeah.
So it started to wane on me towards the end.
God, I saw it 8 and I didn't
skip a beat. That's insane. And then watching it at home for the first time, me and Ben turned it off because we were like, wow, we thought we loved this movie.
Here's my thing though. I saw it 8 times when it came out and like 6 of those were with somebody seeing it for the first time.
That's what I did with the Batman.
And so I was like looking at them like this while they were watching, just smiling like, it's Andrew. It's Toby. Like
that's what I did with the Batman, except a couple of those I just went by myself.
Yeah.
But yes, you only get to do that a few times in your life. So I get why that's so special. That's obviously a movie that means a lot to you. My favorite movie is The Batman. It meant a lot to me because that's a 3-hour movie I saw 10 times in theaters.
Yeah, this still isn't my favorite movie. But you know, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a 5 stars. 5 stars.
So just at 5 stars.
5-star review.
So just out of curiosity, we talked about this earlier. You said we should rank the Spider-Man movies. Is it all Spider-Man movies or just the Tom Holland trilogy?
Let's go live action.
Live action. Okay, so no Spider-Verse?
I want to throw them in there, but I'm going to say no just because they weren't released with the Columbia Picture run.
I can understand that.
So let's go with the ones that were ran here.
I can understand that.
So what? That leaves us with 8?
Yep. 3
Go 8 through 1 for me.
Yep. 8 through 1.
Yeah.
Very, very bottom is The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, I know that's a hot take.
Okay.
But I say that because The Amazing Spider-Man is a better movie than The Amazing Spider-Man 2 by at least half a point. But that movie's just more boring for me.
Okay.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 is insane.
That's fair.
So it makes it more entertaining.
Okay.
So, Amazing Spider-Man 1.
7.
Next is Amazing Spider-Man 2. Obviously, there's reasons for that. Are we going through and explaining each one?
You don't have to, but
Sweet.
Most of them are
They kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, you get it.
Yeah.
Next, after that, I'm going to have to give to probably No Way Home.
I had a feeling that. I'm kind of like, I've been 3 for 3 in my head.
Yeah.
I kind of have a feeling the route you're going. So
No Way Home. We just talked about it. Next is actually Homecoming. I think Homecoming is a better movie than what I rank it.
Yeah.
But it's just, for some reason, it doesn't feel incredibly rewatchable to me. I don't know why. I don't like rewatching it. The rewatch in the theater was actually probably my favorite time watching it.
Yeah.
Because it got spoiled for me in theaters and I gave it time and blah, blah, blah. So then after that, I'm going to say probably Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm going to say. Yeah.
Wow, so you have all 3 of Toby's ahead of all of Toby's.
All right, you know what? No, that's not true. Yes, I'm actually going to do that. Yeah.
Whoa.
Far From Home is great. I still love it. Mysterio might be my favorite villain.
Love Spider-Man 3. Because you gave Far From Home an 8.5.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Spider-Man 3
In
is...
third.
Huh?
In third.
Yeah,
Okay.
in third. I think it's super underrated. I think that movie is not as bad as everybody thinks.
I think it's a good movie.
But here's what I'll say. I am very blinded by this movie. It was one of the first...
It's your No Way Home?
It's probably my first... It's probably the first superhero movie I remember watching in theaters.
Okay.
My first watch in theaters was... I kind of did some discussing with my parents. It was probably Batman Begins.
Okay.
Because I knew it would have had to have been superhero something. I was probably too young for Spider-Man 2. Batman Begins was perfect. Spider-Man 3, I remember specifically because I went to see it 3 times as a kid. And I was so hyped. I wanted to see Venom. To me, there was no bad way for Venom to... As long as his name was Venom, I was all over it.
Yeah.
New Goblin is terrible, but I thought it was cool giving him a stick instead of a glider. In hindsight, what the hell?
Yeah.
I think the stuff with Sandman's actually very good.
I like Sandman.
I think the black suit stuff is actually pretty good. Other than that goofy ass dance scene we all know. Yeah. But it's iconic now, so I don't even dislike that.
Not even the dance scene. I just don't like the jazz club scene where he hits MJ.
You know what? As a kid, I liked that because sorry, let me explain. I didn't like it. As a kid, I liked that it could be like...
As a kid, I love abuse.
That was like my first introduction to like real drama in a movie. I was like, damn, that's serious. That's serious shit right there.
That's fair.
As a kid. I didn't like domestic abuse. I was like, I'd beat you up right now, Spider-Man. But I like how that comes full circle and the ending of the movie and stuff. So Spider-Man 3...
The best part of it, I guess.
The thing overall that makes it ranked right there, I saw Spider-Man 3 probably more than any Spider-Man movie ever. Because it was the most rewatchable to me. Again, kind of an Amazing Spider-Man 2 situation. It's most rewatchable because there's a bunch of crazy shit the whole movie to keep you entertained. And on top of it, it's a pretty good movie.
Most rewatchable.
I don't know if it is the most rewatchable. As a kid, it was.
That's fair.
Because it had more villains, more action.
That's fair.
Next is Spider-Man 1. And Spider-Man 1's really close.
Yeah.
But that one goes under for reasons I'll get into. But the first Spider-Man, I mean... Homecoming did the great responsibility, like that kind of Spider-Man thing did it great. The ending of the first Spider-Man, as I grow up, the more I start to realize how fucking amazing that is. The ending of giving up on MJ and doing things to be wild.
Yeah.
I love that. Green Goblin is amazing.
Yeah.
And then finally is Spider-Man 2. I think Spider-Man 2... I still think is like in the holy grail of superhero movies.
Oh yeah,
I think, and especially
two are.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man 1 is too, but Spider-Man 2 especially for me. I think also because I'm in that age pocket of being somebody who feels like Peter Parker because I'm like I can barely afford rent. And just him getting kicked around the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's exhausting. It really is because he gets the whole movie is nothing but that, but it feels so relatable in a way. And just like the pure endurance that guy has to make it out the end of all that. And I actually like the MJ stuff, even though she sucks.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man 2 to death.
For me, in the 8th spot, I would go The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to preface this, I love all of these movies.
Yeah. I could rewatch any of these any day.
Yeah.
I should preface, I still do. I love all of them except The Amazing Spider-Man, which is the only one that I like.
And 7th, I would put Spider-Man 3.
Okay, that's fair.
I think I have a lot of fun with it, but I think it is one of the most flawed of the Spider-Man movies.
I genuinely feel like an insane person when I talk about it because I'm like, I don't think there's that much wrong with it. Yeah. I know there is, but for some reason I don't see it. I really don't.
You're blinded by the nostalgia.
It works for me. I don't know why. That movie works for me. He gets amnesia. That's stupid.
That's
it works.
Fair. That's 7th for me. 6th, I'd go The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of fun with this one. I always grew up liking the lizard in the video games, albeit the design a little underwhelming and the premise of him making all man equal by turning into lizards, definitely weird. I still have a lot of fun with this movie, and I love Andrew Garfield. 5th, I would probably go... I'd go Homecoming. Mm-hmm. And again, I love it a lot. I like it a lot. Comedy kind of sours it a little bit, but doesn't kill it. Still love it. Mm-hmm. 4th, I would go Far From Home.
Yep.
And I mean, we talked about it last week. Phenomenal movie. Mysterio is badass. Jake Gyllenhaal killed it, and it's a great movie. Wish it was in New York. Mm-hmm. 3rd, I'd go No Way Home. Mm-hmm. And we've obviously just talked about this movie. All 3 of the top 3 are 10 out of 10s, high replay value.
I'm interested to see your number 1 and number 2 because I can't really remember what you got.
Number 2, 2002.
Yes!
I love The Green Goblin. I think this is a holy grail movie, just like you said. Mm-hmm. What gives Spider-Man 2 the edge in the top spot for me is the train scene.
Oh, yeah.
That train scene is one of my favorite scenes in cinema of all time.
Yeah, that especially as far as Spider-Man action sequences go, that's probably the best one.
Yeah, that gives it the edge. I think both the first 2 have like the best set design when it comes to final fights.
Oh, I agree.
The abandoned warehouse with the Green Goblin, and the dock house with over the water with the dock off.
I put like the train and the dock house. They're like 5 minutes apart, so they're like the same. I agree with that. I think one of my biggest problems with every movie we just named, except for, funnily enough, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 might be the only exception from this. I do not love the locations that these final battles take. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I actually like the power grid clock tower situation, oddly enough. But you're right. The Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, holy hell, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but I love all the Spider-Man movies. Spidey's the man.
He is the Spidey's man.
Yeah.
He's the man.
That'll do it for Spider-Man No Way Home, Kory. Thank you for sitting through this trilogy with me.
Always. Thank you for inviting me on here, even though you knew we were going to argue about it.
Of course.
But it's all love, brother.
It's all with love. But thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, please check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. Again, we thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you all soon. See ya.